Have you ever tasted a cup of coffee so strange that it changed your life? The party buzzed with chatter and laughter, but Mark felt invisible. He stood at the edge of the room, his plain shirt and shy demeanor unnoticed by the crowd. Across the room, Emily was the center of attention. Her laughter sparkled, and her presence drew everyone in. Mark couldn't take his eyes off her. Summoning his courage, he approached her as the party wound down. "Would you like to have coffee with me sometime?" he asked, his voice almost a whisper. Emily, taken aback by the unexpected invitation, hesitated, but something about his sincerity made her nod. "Sure," she replied. The next day, they met at a quiet coffee shop. Emily's polished demeanor contrasted with Mark's nervous silence. She stirred her coffee, glancing at the clock, wondering how long she needed to stay. Then Mark broke the silence. "Could I have some salt?" he asked the waiter. Emily looked up, startled. "Salt? In coffee?" Her curiosity piqued as Mark stirred the salt into his cup. "Why do you do that?" she asked, unable to contain herself. Mark smiled, a little embarrassed. "When I was a boy, I lived by the sea. The salty breeze, the sound of waves, it was my world. Drinking coffee with salt reminds me of home, my parents, and the life I left behind." As he spoke, his eyes glistened with unshed tears. Emily was moved. In his words, she saw not just a strange habit, but a man with depth, a man who cherished his roots. For the first time, she felt intrigued. The conversation flowed from there. Mark's stories drew Emily in, and soon she found herself sharing her own tales of childhood. The hours slipped by, and when they left the coffee shop, Emily saw Mark in a new light. Their story unfolded like a classic romance. Mark's warmth and thoughtfulness complemented Emily's grace and intelligence. They fell in love, married, and built a life together. Every morning, Emily prepared Mark's coffee with a pinch of salt, a quiet tribute to the memory that had brought them together. Decades passed. One morning, Mark didn't wake up. Emily found a letter on his bedside table, addressed to her. "My dearest Emily, do you remember our first coffee date? I was so nervous that day. When I asked for salt, it wasn't on purpose. I meant to ask for sugar, but the words came out wrong. I was too embarrassed to correct myself, so I drank salty coffee and made up that story. You believed me, and it brought us closer. Over the years, I've grown to love the taste of salty coffee because it reminds me of you. Every sip holds the memory of that first spark, of the moment you smiled and decided to stay. Thank you for making my life so sweet. If I had to do it all over again, I would still choose you, even if it meant drinking salted coffee forever. Love, Mark." Emily's hands trembled as she finished the letter. Tears streamed down her face, but she smiled through them. When someone asked her later what salty coffee tasted like, she simply said, "It tastes sweet." If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Emotional Echoes for more unforgettable tales of love and life.